Good evening. Today is March 14th. Welcome to the Chatham Township Committee meeting. Now, meeting is called to order. Greg, the adequate notice was given.
Yes, adequate notice of this meeting of the Township Committee was given as required by the Open Public Meetings Act as follows. Notice was given at both the Chatham Courier and the Martis County Daily Record on January 4th, 2019. Notice was posted on the bulletin board in the main hallway of the municipal building on January 4th, 2013. And notice was filed with the Township Clerk on January 4th, 2019.
Thank you, Greg. And flag salute. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Greg, roll call, please.
Mrs. Smith?
Here.
Mrs. Schwartz?
Here.
Mr. Ritter is here by phone.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Kelly?
Here.
And Mayor Selin.
Here. Thank you. And next item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. And do I...
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, please.
If I may, as a point of order, I was going to make a report about the colony pool fees. I was going to and ask the governing body for their input. If I may respectfully ask that just be put on the agenda under discussion this way. Under the township rules, there can be a full discussion, and my apologies for mixing up township with borough. That will not happen again.
Thank you, Bob. And now we're putting that into the agenda as discussion item number 2. Great, thank you. And tonight we have guests here, and I'm going to introduce our guests. But
Mayor?
before I do that,
Would you like a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
Yes, I would like to do that. And do I have a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
Yes, so moved.
Second. Okay. And all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone oppose or abstain? Approved. And we have some guests here, and I would like to introduce them to you. Before I do that, I have received an email from one of our guests, and I would like to, it's very short, I'm going to read it to you. It's very interesting and impressive too, And it started like this. It's 2 weeks ago I received this email. Dear Mayor Selin, we're happy to share with you that our team of 4 7th graders from Chatham has won the 3rd place and the recent Future City National Competition held in Washington, D.C. this past week, after winning the state championship a month ago. That's amazing. For this challenge, we completed against 40,000 students from around the world. We imagined a city of the future that would withstand natural disasters. Specifically, for our city, we learned how to make a city be able to withstand a tsunami. You know, Chatham Township withstands a typhoon. You should beat that. So, anyway, I had to say it. And during this competition, we learned that in order to be mayor, we must be able to balance our budget and keep our citizens happy. We learned how to zone and plan our city for growth and how to engineer innovative solutions to provide services to our residents and businesses. This is so cool, that paragraph, it sums it all up. We welcome the opportunity to share with the committee our project and trophies that we hope will inspire other kids to learn how their town works. We are available to present this Thursday, February 28th. It didn't work that date, but anyway, so please welcome our smartest 4 7th graders in our town and for their presentation.
Great.
And I will tell their names. Tanya Moline. Tanya, okay, say hi, okay. And we have Natalie Yen. And we have, let's see, Aiden Bernstein. Aiden, okay, you are there. And Sofia Malgarajo. Sofia is here?
She is.
Okay. All right, so, excellent. And another thing, the measure that I will give you, that you will have 10 minutes to finish it. Let's see if you could do that.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, would the Township Committee like to come off the dais so they can see the front of that, or?
That would be great. I don't know how we should make it work. I mean,
Wait a minute, are they planning a big reveal? Because I don't want to ruin the big reveal.
Yeah, why don't you guys-
maybe we should do it like sideways, right there or something.
Yes, let me start. So thank you, Mayor Sullivan, and esteemed council members. My name is Peter Tarnitis. I'm also a resident of Chatham Township. I'm also on the board of Chatham STEM, now known as Jersey STEM, and I'm also a coach and whatnot. But today, we just want to thank you for inviting the team, and they really did have a great start, obviously, as you mentioned, and I don't want to take too much time, but I do want to explain the fact of what you mentioned. The competition is very competitive, of course, and they moved from Chatham to New Jersey to the Nationals, which was a great accomplishment, as you know. But most importantly is the effort that they put into this, which was extensive through the fall, many, many weeks, along with their coach, Judy, Bob, and we want to thank our sponsors from PSC&G tonight who's here, who helped support us. Now, I want to introduce a team member again. This is Natalie, please, raise your hand, Tanya, Aiden, and Sophia. And I just want to share with you their project, which included 4 parts. It wasn't as simple as you think. There was a computer application to generate a simulation of a city and learn how, as a city planner, how to oversee the management of the city as well as being a mayor. The second thing, they conducted research about natural disasters, as you just mentioned, and creating a resilient electrical grid. And third, they designed a scale model, which is in front of you, representing that project. And lastly, they prepared a presentation of their work. Tonight, they're going to talk about each of those components. So who would like to begin? Go ahead.
Oh, sure. So this is our model of our city called Kaikuruku, and that's Japanese for resilience. This city is located on an island off of Japan called Okinawa, which is on the East China Sea. The topic for our future city was, as you know, to build a city that was more resilient, and we have multiple components to keep our city safe from tsunamis.
One component we have to keep our city safe is our Tsunami Intelligent Protection System, which is called TIPS, and it's comprised of many things like our mangroves, our coral reefs, our vertical evacuation buildings, and much more.
Our BBPs, or battery backup pods, can evacuate citizens if there's a tsunami on the way.
Also, our buildings in the front are pointed at an angle to direct waves away, and other buildings are elevated off the floor to let the wave go under. As mentioned before, our BBPs can also be used to transport people and goods. They
Can you point to where that is
Oh.
in the model?
Yeah, sure. So our BBPs on the model are represented by small beads. There are different sizes of the beads to represent different things. So the larger ones would generally be able to, for public transportation and to transport goods around the city and export things. And the smaller ones would be individual use for citizens that need to get around the city. The BBPs can also be used to supply houses with energy. So if one part of our microgrid, our city is made up of microgrids, if one house goes down, the BBPs can supply that house with energy as long as it needs to be repaired.
Our microgrids are powered by 4 main energy sources, and this includes solar, which is located on the top of our roofs, geothermal, which is located in our cherry blossom park, tidal, which is represented by our tidal turbine, and our wind, which is represented by our wind turbine.
For our microgrids, as I said earlier, if one house goes down, other houses or BBPs can power it. But also, if one entire microgrid goes down, another microgrid or multiple microgrids, or the BBPs could power it back up.
Oh.
So the microgrids that you've been hearing about as part of a system called the Resilient Induction Smart Energy System, also known as RISES. So it's made up of self-sufficient microgrids that can draw energy from on-site, such as solar and wind, and different locations such as tidal and geothermal. And individual consumers can use the solar and wind energy and store it in high-capacity durable home batteries. And the geothermal and tidal energy can be used to power battery reserves and be used as a spinning reserve for the industrial and commercial users. So when we were building our city, we wanted to fix a lot of the problems that we have right now. And some of the problems that we have with our power grid right now is inefficient distribution, multiple single points of failure, and in the case of Japan right now, different current frequencies.
Our model has 4 moving parts, which is our tsunami protection gate, TPG, our wind turbine and a tidal turbine, and then our rotating vertical farm. Yeah.
Do you want to say what that's made out of?
It's, you made it.
So the base of our wind turbine is just 2 chopsticks, and the top is made out of like a mouse toy, which had a spinning tail, which we used for the blades of the wind turbine.
Our model is also made mostly out of recyclables, like a lot of toothpaste boxes, some old toy parts. What else did we use? We used other smaller cardboard boxes and like cardstock, file folders, sawdust, and yeah, that's really it.
Much more.
Much more.
Yeah, so part of our city is self-sustaining. So we have a lot of sustainable aspects of our city, which is one, our food supply. So as you can see over here, our rotating vertical farm supplies the whole city and its citizens with fresh produce. And fun fact, the largest vertical farm is located in Newark, New Jersey. Yeah, surprising. So vertical farms actually use 90% less water than regular agricultural farming and produce 75% more food per square foot than regular farming. So right now, 47% of Japan's protein comes from fish. So we made sure that we wanted to incorporate some of the cultural aspects of Japan into our city. So it's not on the model, but if you went farther out into the ocean, you would see fish farming, which we would grow eels there because that's a big part of Japanese culture. And even though that right now it might not be the most eco-friendly, in the future we make sure that the fish are treated well and they don't produce as much waste as they usually do.
So this was our model, which was one component of our future city. So another component was our essay, and Aiden and I worked on it together. I did the introduction, and she did more of the engineering side. She did the last part. And
I think we're kind of almost out of time. So if there's any questions from the
Yes,
audience.
if there's any questions from the committee, and I do have one actually. I have one. How many people live in your city?
About 55,000 people with a median age of 65.
But they can live to 120 during tourism seasons, which is usually the summer. The population would swell to about 100,000.
Okay, so you have 55,000 people?
Yes.
So do you know how many people live in Chatham Township?
Less than
I'll
that.
help you. Less than 11,000, I would say. More
Yeah.
than 10,000. So it's like 5 times of Chatham Township.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we are only allowed to show a portion of our city. So 1 inch equals 40 feet on the model. So this is about 1.5 miles of our city. Our city would obviously be larger, and the island itself is Okinawa is much larger. So.
Any questions from the committee?
How How long did it take you to build that? That is quite an impressive city.
Thank
I
you.
would like to build that.
Thank you. We started it in September until January, which was our regionals competition. And afterwards, we weren't allowed to like do anything else to it until nationals.
We started building houses in September, but we mostly focused on the essay and SimCity earlier, and then later on we started adding everything onto the model in November-ish.
Yeah.
I would say about a month before the regionals competition, which was in January, everything like the woodwork and attaching everything was done about a month and a half before the competition.
Well, it's beautiful.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Any questions? Any other questions from committee members? Okay. Now, maybe we should do a photograph together before you leave.
Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, one last thing. This is the work, of course, of the coaches, the parents, but also in the community that have helped. Engineers from HatchMod, or some of their counselors, sorry. Engineers from town, and also PCNG has been sponsoring this program, so we want to make sure they're recognized for their contribution, both the time they spent and the sponsorship they provided.
I see a picture with PSCNG check here.
That's right.
I want you guys to help me. Help us to get a check from them too. So yeah.
We're also very lucky to live in a community, right, that thrives, right, in terms of the educational system that we have here that allows for this inspiration for these kids to kind of continue this kind of work. So it's just really a combination of, you know, a lot of public education and private support that makes these things possible. So thank you.
Okay, so let's do the picture, then we'll move on to the next item.
I'm going to take the pink house.
You got it?
Right there. Congratulations.
Good job, girl.
Thank you. This is just the beginning. Keep it going. Engineering careers, right? Help us with Chatham Township. We can use some wind energy.
Okay, let's take this out.
Thank you, Neil.
When I graduated, my graduation project was on simply Mud from architecture school.
Yep.
When I show the trophy, let's take this out. Let's take this out. Let's take it out.
Great job. Thank you so much. Don't let it stop here. This is just the beginning, all right?
Thanks to the girls, and we're moving forward with our agenda. And before we get to the reports, I have a proclamation. It's a tough word for me, and to read. That is for the Women's History Month. And congratulations to every woman in this country and all around the world. Whereas, for more than 2 centuries, our nation has grown under the simple creed that each of us is created equal. It is a notion that makes America unlike any other place on earth. A country where no matter where you come from or what you look like, you can go as far as your talents will take you. And whereas Women's History Month is a time to remember those who fought to make that freedom as real for our daughters as for our sons. Written out the promise of the franchise, they were women who reached up to close the gap between America and what it could be. They were driven by a faith that our union could extend true equality to every citizen willing to claim it. Whereas that legacy of the change is all around us. Women are more than half of our population, nearly half of our nation's workforce, and more than half of our college graduates. Whereas women are still not fully and adequately represented at the top tables of the organizations and corporations, nor on local, state, and national legislative and governing bodies, and are therefore not being heard or listened to, nor is a woman's very important perspective properly represented when decisions and laws are being made. And whereas our history shows that when we couple grit and ingenuity with our beliefs, there's no barrier we cannot overcome. We can stay true to our founding creed that in America, all things should be possible for all people. Whereas Chatham Township community leaders are working together to shine the spotlight on Women's History Month and to celebrate women's empowerment and to focus on women in history who fought for our rights and whose lives changed the course of history. Now, therefore, I, Mayor Typhoon Salen, and the Township Committee do hereby proclaim March 2019 as Women's History Month in the Township of Chatham. Thank you. With this proclamation, I'd like to congratulate our 2 women committee members for stepping up to the plate and giving their time for the public good. And we have 40%, our committee is 40% women, 60% men. So not too bad. It could be better. So that's it. Thank you. All right. Now reports. And we are going to go first with the committee, then our folks here, then we're going to have a library of the Chatham Annual Report. So starting with the committee members. Karen, is anything?
Yes, actually,
Sure.
And in honor of Women's History Month, it can't go without saying how proud we are to have been home to the Women's Club of the Chathams for the last 100 years. And as they are closing their operations, there are so many organizations throughout the Chathams that have been overwhelmingly grateful recipients of their donations. Most recently, our Chatham Township Volunteer Fire Department, which received a $25,000 gift from the Women's Club of the Chathams. Department President John Robertson, Chief Matt Lemons, and Board President Jim Connolly were so proud to accept that from Terry Candelaft. And as Terry pointed out, it's so important that all of the good that they have done and the fundraising that they have done over the years and their generosity stays here in the community. So I can't express more gratitude on behalf of our volunteer fire department for that. The Senior Center, also a great recipient of our first responders. They had a visit from the Chatham Emergency Squad recently, so that our Senior Center administration received training in CPR, which was great. CPR training is available to all throughout the community through our various organizations. Obviously, you'd want to contact our Chatham Emergency Squad in the event that your organization could benefit from CPR training. Our Department of Public Works has been busy cleaning up after a long winter, so there's plenty to do there. And I have a note from Richard here. Richard tells us that they have obviously been working on pothole repair, which is going to be kind of an endless thing around our community. They are doing some tree work, paring back trees in the public lines of vision, etc. They've got a lot of repairs to do on their equipment as they ended up hopefully with last week's storms, and they can put a lot of those pieces of equipment to bed. They've drained the pond at Nash Field as we're getting ready for warmer weather and more spring activities, and they're really getting down to work on our Board of Rec fields, which will be great. They're going to be continuing to paint and improve around Colony Pool. I did speak with Richard today regarding some of the work that was going on the 300 block of Shunpike, which is around Cougar Field. Those of you who have traveled down Shunpike past Cougar Field over the last day or so have noticed, well, actually weeks, JCP&L did some tree work on the trees along the hemlock trees along the Cougar Field perimeter at Shunpike. That was JCP&L doing that, and now the Board of Ed has actually enlisted Morris County Shade Tree Committee to remove some of the dead and hollow trees there. They're a danger to the public. The barrier was great for line of sight for pedestrians, but trees have been removed today, and there will be some ongoing work there. If the Board of Ed will do any additional work on that sidewalk there, the trees actually only jeopardize any further improvements they have to make there. In addition to what JCP&L was working on Shunpike, in the 300 block of Shunpike, they will be beginning in April the removal of the ash trees that they feel have been imperiled by the emerald ash borer or will soon be in their right-of-way. It's probably not going to be getting underway in March, but we're halfway through March, so that will be April. And they have the same criteria for removing those trees in their right-of-way. The property owners will be noticed. They are telling me that if a tree is on a customer's property affecting the facilities, they will ask for permission to cut that tree down if the tree is firmly on a homeowner's property. But again, the JCP&L right-of-way and the latitude they need for the reliability of their grid is most important. They're not doing this in any sort of ramshackle fashion. It is something they have seen, the plight of the emerald ash borer, as it has marched across the Midwest and the Mid-Atlantic states and on up to us. So in that regard, we've been in touch with the Morris County Roads Division, the Shade Tree Division, JCP&L, et cetera. So we're going to stay on top of all of those things. And I believe that's what I've got. Thank you very much.
Thank you for a great report. And Tracy, anything?
Oh, yes. It's been a very busy week. I'd like to give a big thanks to the Chatham Environmental Commission. They received a Decade of Achievement Award from Sustainable New Jersey, and they are sustainable heroes for maintaining the Sustainable New Jersey certification for 10 years, and only 14 municipalities ever received this designation. So thank you to our Environmental Commission for doing all of that hard work. It is not easy to meet all of the requirements to get the certification every year. The Communications Committee met. We're waiting for approvals on our City Solutions contract to move forward with all of the updates on the website that are necessary. And in 2017, we were notified of a franchise renewal for Comcast. So we're in the process of reviewing the Comcast franchise contract, and we'll be working together with Albert on that. Had a recreation meeting. They're starting an all-new girls hockey mite team, which is very exciting because girls hockey is taking off like crazy. And they're in the process of also updating their website to make it more user-friendly. Colony Pool met, and we have 14 families signed up for camp so far. Publicity is going out to K-3 and Lafayette School Friday and next week. We're doing email blasts to previous Colony Pool members, to previous SBS. So we're getting it out there. And there are lots of plans. We have a very enthusiastic committee for yoga, water aerobics, a tennis program, a family fun night. So stay tuned for all that's going to happen at Colony Pool, and hopefully we'll be able to open Colony Pool registration as soon as we resolve the rate issue. I also attended the EPA meeting for the Rolling Knolls landfill. I recused myself from the Community Action Group because as a sitting member of the Chatham Township Committee, I cannot participate on the Community Action Group as an active member. but I can be there in a observatory capacity so that we stay abreast in the township of what's going on with the Rolling Knolls activity. And a presentation was given on human and ecological impacts of the site. There was nothing that stood out greatly, and those are available on the Great Swamp Watershed Association site if anybody would like to take a look at those reports. Well, I think I hit it all. Oh, I spoke with the Board of Education, too, about the macadam sidewalk that a person raised as an issue. It is in their plans to go ahead and fix that sidewalk along Cougar Field as soon as weather permits. And I'm hoping that weather is going to permit very soon and that we don't get any more snow.
And I think that is in coordination with JCP, with Morris County removing those hemlocks from that area because and I don't believe they'll be planting any new trees either because that would just compromise the work that the Board of Ed would be doing on that sidewalk.
And just so residents know, in keeping with Karen's report with JCP&L, and thank you, John, for reaching out for the contact, on our website, the tree trimming is going to go by substation area and the tree removal. So if you want to go to our website, Chatham Township website, you'll find a list of all of the streets that they're going to be starting with, again, as weather permits. It's going to be Delwood, Highland, Hillside, Longwood, Maple Street, River Road, Washington Avenue, Woodland Road, and Woods Lane is what they have listed for their project for this part of the year. That's it.
Thank you. Two great reports. The bar is very high for you. But before I get to you, and I totally forgot when I didn't see Kurt here. Kurt is on the phone. I don't know if, Kurt, do you have any reports?
No report, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, great. So, and yes, Mike.
Yes, I'll try to compete. Two fun items, actually. The Chatham Community Garden announces that it's going to be having its All Gardener meeting Tuesday, March 26th at 7:30 p.m. at the Public Library, Chatham Library. This is for all people who have plots at the community garden, but it's also anyone who's a gardener is invited. The guest speaker is a master gardener, Ilana Ansharenki, who will be talking about what's eating my plants and vegetables. So whether you're growing flowers or plants, there's probably some good information there. There's also going to be a seed exchange, a free gardening book exchange, and some door prizes too. So it should be a fun evening. Tuesday, March 26th, 7:30 p.m. at the library. Separate item, and this is kind of a tease because the Historical Society will be coming in when they schedule a date to give a report, a full report to the Township Committee and to the public. But they have an interesting series of projects on their agenda for the start of this year. They are proud to announce that they've received a certificate of eligibility to be included on the National and State Register of Historic Structures for the Red Brick Schoolhouse on Fairmont Avenue and Southern Boulevard. So that is a great accomplishment, involves a lot of research and presentation, and it opens the door to step 2 and step 3. Step 2 will be an application to the Morris County Historic Preservation Trust Fund for a grant to identify what needs to be done to that building to preserve it for future generations. And then step 3 would be a grant preparation that would go toward whatever work is identified as being necessary. So that's going to be a multi-year project, but just kind of a heads up. And like I said, the officers of the Historical Society will be coming in when we schedule a date for them, and we can get a lot more details then. Thank you, Mayor. That's
Great.
it.
Mayor, if I could just add one more
Sure,
thing, since Mike got to say fun things.
Sure.
I'm going to give a plug for the Art League of the Chathams. One of our own, Celeste Fondaco, is out there, one of our artists. The spring exhibit begins Friday, March 15th at the Chatham Township Building with an opening reception from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. There'll be music and food, and a Chatham resident and world traveler, Sally Abbott, will be featured. She does land, seascapes, and whimsical paintings. So if everybody wants to come down and check out all of the art that we have surrounding the halls and the Chathams, please do come out on Friday, this Friday, from 6:30 to 8:30.
Mike, you have 30 seconds to rebut. All right, so mine is very quick, really. It's been covered by all the members here. And I'm just going to mention, PSCNG was mentioned a few times. I'm just going to add one thing, that I think the walkthrough for the issues that we've been having scheduled for 19th, I believe.
Scheduled for the 19th.
Yeah, I mean, weather permitting.
I almost don't want to say it.
Yeah, weather permitting,
Jinx it.
right? That's 19th. I just want to make sure that, yeah, I just want to make sure that our residents know that we are on it, and it's just the weather issue. It's been rescheduled 3 times already, okay? So that's one thing. And Women Club of Chatham, I was there last night accepting the donation for $25,000. I mean, Women's History Month, our Women's Club of Chathams are making history for the last few months, actually. And we had received another big donation. Our chief is smiling over there, and big donation for the Chatham Township Police Department, and the library as well. I know Karen is smiling over there. And so they have been donating to a lot of organizations, and thanks to them, and we appreciate for their help and donations. PSCNG, I mentioned. Sidewalk, you mentioned already, and both of you, thank you. And this is it for me, actually. Now, John, anything from you?
Just briefly, Mayor. In the near future, I would like to bring some discussion items, recommendations regarding our lock rating ordinance. 2018 was an extremely wet year, as you know, and reflecting back on 2018 and even prior years, there are certain things that I think we could improve the lock rating ordinance to address some of the complaints that I've been getting. In particular, one item is our lock rating ordinance, which actually is very consistent with county standards, state standards regarding stormwater management. Stormwater management is based on pre and post development conditions. We don't look at construction. We look at when the house is done, what type of, how did we mitigate stormwater? And we accomplish that, and we accomplish it very well. But unfortunately, during construction, I do get complaints during construction, and the reality is we do have increases in stormwater over sites because basically as a site is completely disturbed, you have bare soils and you have houses that usually don't have the gutters on right away. And so we do get occasional complaints regarding some of the construction. And I think what has worked well, which we adopted a few years back regarding steep slopes, is that if you are working on a steep slope lot, you're required to connect the gutters as soon as possible, as soon as the roof is done. And I think that's something that we should consider adopting on all new homes, frankly, because it is not a substantial cost for a developer to put up temporary gutters or actually just accelerate putting the gutters on and having that directed to a dry well, because too often, the gutters don't go on until the very end, and so you're getting all that runoff, uncontrolled runoff off the roofs, and it goes into, so we are seeing that. So I think that may be something that it just is something that to consider, and I think that would help mitigate some of those construction impacts that we are seeing.
John, are gutters actually required on homes in Chatham Township? Because yes. I know in places they don't. I mean, mostly colder weather climates, obviously, but...
They are obligated because in order to meet our stormwater requirements, they have to collect water off the roof and recharge it. Cool. Otherwise, there's no other practical way to meet our ordinance. So it is, every house gets gutters on it. Mm-hmm. And so it's just a matter of having the dry wells installed with the foundations and having, as soon as the roof is shingled, have it collected and controlled. And because I just see that being, I address a complaint, I go out, the first thing I see is there's no gutters, and then you can see the runoff coming off of the roof. And so it's just something to, it represents probably about 25% of a lot, and be able to control that water, and I think it's just something I think would be an improvement. And I don't think it's going to be a substantial cost, because they can just accelerate doing the trim work on the gutters and getting it done. And so I think that would be an improvement. Other things that I'm sorry I won't go through all of them, but just some clarifications regarding what at the conclusion, the certification that the engineer provides, just make sure that they are providing certification of all the aspects of the lock rating. And would like to look at a formal process regarding dealing with notice of violations and what the follow-up was required to make sure it's not going to happen again, and those type of things. I do want to revisit the fees. Certainly, we charge the same amount for a new home versus a pool, and so it really needs to look at the fees. And the fees should cover the cost of administrating the pool program and compliance. So that just needs to be looked at also. So I'd like to just draft some of my recommendations, vent it through to Bob and Mr. Cruz, and let's just come back with the committee with some recommendations for discussion purposes.
Thank you, John. Bob, do you have any reports?
My report is going to be very brief because there are items on the agenda that we will discuss. I wanted to let the governing body know and the members of the township, the residents, that there are several projects.
Excuse me, Bob, is your mic on?
Yes, but my mouth is moving. How's that? All right. I was moving my mouth back and forth, so sorry, side to side. We're just working on several projects that will come to fruition over the next 4 to 6 months. One of the items that would be of interest to many is that we are conducting a survey of our municipal facilities. There's a grant program from PSE&G where they will pay for 70% of energy improvement costs if we meet certain criteria. So that project is now underway, where they will be looking at our water treatment plant. They will be looking at the police department. They will be looking at the DPW, because this is driven by lighting. So if we meet certain criteria for lighting that they can make more energy efficient, then they will also do HVAC programs. So that's something that will have a long-term cost reduction for our physical plant. And then I just wanted to point out to the members of the Township Committee that there is some sartorial splendor here, because all members of below the dais are wearing ties today. So I want to compliment our engineer for that. And that's my report.
Bob, can I ask you, that PSE&G grant program for energy efficiency is notwithstanding the fact that we get our electricity from JCP&L. That doesn't seem to get in the way of that.
No, they've come through. This is partially funded. It's a program that it's funded through the state through some of our energy taxes, and this is something that we are considered to be in PSE&G's territory for this project.
Thank you. Bob, Albert, anything?
No report.
No reports, okay. And Chief, anything? No, sir. No, sir. Okay, perfect. Thank you. And I think I didn't miss anyone. And now it's time for Karen Brodsky, the director of the Library of the Chathams, to give her annual library report. Thank you, Karen.
Thank you. Thank you for making time on the agenda tonight. I'm here with Board of Trustees Vice President Peggy Nelson, who I think you all know. And I'm sure Peggy agrees with me that the library is a truly unique institution in our community, interfacing with local groups to provide ties to literature, establish community connections, offer co-programming with other entities that serve our children and adults. And our staff serves as facilitators of resources with a team ready to help residents use our tools to their best advantage. So you have the written report that I provided, but I've also given you a backgrounder document that the Board of Trustees developed. It tells the story of the Bridging Space to Place project and campaign from beginning to mid-February. And you should have a large sheet. This is also available on the library website for people to look at. We've now raised almost $600,000 in addition to the $1.2 million that we already had toward the project. And we're waiting for the Construction Bond Act application to be made available before one final appeal to our residents. And no time frame exactly has been provided yet other than spring, but we're ready to go and apply for that. In order to assure that library services and building plans are aligned with community needs, the Library Board of Trustees started a comprehensive strategic planning process in 2018. And they did leadership interviews, focus groups, a community-wide survey, and the plan as a whole will be finished and released in 2019, but a community-driven mission is ready and available on the library website. It's been adopted by the Board of Trustees. and a comprehensive vision, which I don't expect anyone to be able to see on this slide, but know that the Board of Trustees is committed to it and to moving forward with the library the way the community wants to see it done. So over the past 5 years, visits to the library have increased by 5.86%, and program attendance has increased by more than 21% in just the last 3 years. And believe it or not, people are still taking out books and reading them. As much as ever, we saw a steady increase in borrowing over the last 10 years, with a spike in 2012 to 2017, and there is a graph provided in your written report showing that trend. The library endeavors to be transformational for people, and I'd like to show the depth of the impact we've had on some individuals in the community. This letter was brought for the staff last December, and if you can't read it, I'll be glad to email a copy to you, but I'll just read one sentence. Books and films have become even more important to me than ever before. They keep me company, they distract me, they transport me, and they educate and entertain. And if you read the rest of the letter, you'll see it's very plain that we're providing social connections for people also, that some people can't get anywhere else. So the library is open 65 hours a week, 7 days a week, in a 37,000 square foot building, with only 19 full-time equivalents for staff. We have 15 full-time staff members and 17 part-time. So that averages out to 10 people in the building at any time, which includes staffing 3 service desks that start out at one in the other end of the library and one in the middle for the circulation desk, doing programming, custodial service, human resources administration, purchasing. All these things are being done, and that's a lot of ground for a few people to cover. And even with such scanty coverage, the staff welcomes people and serves them to the best of their ability, and I think it shows. The staff also investigates new services and resources constantly throughout the year. Our first online movie resource, Canopy, was made available in 2018, so right now you can download movies with your library card from the library website. During 2018, we worked on 2 initiatives that are coming to fruition this year. One is a book advisory team, and the other is a seed library. And although most building work will be done as part of the Bridging Space to Place project, the Board of Trustees felt that some things couldn't wait. And one of those things was a security camera system for 2 main reasons. One is there are a lot of nooks and crannies in the library that the staff can't see. And we can't always tell if somebody's in distress or a child is left or whatever is going on. So the cameras are available on all of the staff computers, and we have a procedure in place for intermittent surveillance by multiple people. And the other reason we need it is because we had a lot of teens crawling into unstaffed area crawl spaces. And we found that out because one person lost her phone in the wall. So once we found that out, of course, we installed locks on the crawl space hatches. Nobody would ever think that anybody would go up there, but they did. So a teen room, which is part of the construction project, is a vital necessity in the library without a doubt. So the 2 main other areas that were safety concerns had to do with the 2 areas we have steps in the library. One is by the sidewalk on Main Street, and one is by the front door. And we've tried for years to repair them, but we got to the point where we'd repair them and they'd start crumbling within a week. So we had to go ahead and do that. And also necessary roof, HVAC, and plumbing repairs were made. Another thing that we did that has to do with security, but not necessarily physical building, is that our website security was enhanced thanks to the New Jersey State Library, which hosts the library website at no charge. So parking is always a concern for people who want to come to the library, and I'm happy to say that in order to make it easier for people to find parking that actually is available, the staff created a bookmark that shows places where parking is normally found. So people don't come to the library, have an expectation they're going to find one of the 10 spots that are right behind the building. This says, oh, okay, maybe if I try somewhere else, I'll park immediately and walk a couple minutes and be there. So this bookmark now will become part of our introductory library information packet that's given to new residents when they come to get their library card. And maps showing parking are on the library website, mobile app, and in the front vestibule. The library is inclusive, providing meeting space for many other groups in the community. Unfortunately, at the moment, we don't have enough space to accommodate all the requests that we get. And one of the building project goals is to provide more meeting space and small studies group space, as well as space for programming. We have tried to expand at the community's request our continuing adult education program, but we just don't have the space. We have a mobile computer training lab that was gifted by the Friends of the Library, and we don't have enough space to have all the classes that people want to have. And as Karen mentioned, the Women's Club of Chatham space is becoming available in the library, and we are going to use that for those purposes. We're also going to use it to create quiet study space and talking study space, so that students who bring friends or a study group or a tutor with them to the library will be directed to the Women's Club room so that they can talk without constantly being berated for making too much noise. So the construction project, even with the addition of that space, is needed for that kind of purpose. So in 2018, we expanded our community partnerships, and one of the initiatives that the library started was the Stay Advisory Committee to help parents and caregivers in Chatham cope with crisis situations. And it included all of these people and entities: the school district, municipal alliance, Chatham Borough, Chatham Township, and the library. And we're continuing this initiative into 2019. The library is also partnering with organizations to train our staffs, including the Senior Center of Chatham and Florham Park Library. So I promised I wouldn't take too much time, so I'll just say yippee, looking forward to 2019, and thank you for your support. And I'm happy to take questions at any time, as is Peggy.
Thank you, Karen. I timed you 8 minutes. And you said under 10 minutes. You delivered your promise. And I also would like to congratulate you and for a successful 2018. I'd like to also congratulate a few others, and obviously Peggy as the Vice President, and I want to congratulate Andy Hollander as the Chairman of Board of Trustees, and I also want to congratulate Kevin Sullivan, who had given a lot of his time during the 2018 as a member of Board of Trustees and a former mayor and former committee member. And so Kevin Sullivan also I want to recognize. And great work, great work. Any members, any committee members would like to say anything about the report? Any questions? Yes.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, I just want to also say thank you to Karen, because she made me feel very welcome when I came here. She was gracious enough to bring a library card over. I came over, got set up electronically, and she gave me a tour of the library facility from soup to nuts. And I do appreciate the time that she spent and making me feel welcome and for the tour. Thank you.
It was my pleasure. Thank you.
All right, if there's no questions or any other comments, I'd like to proceed with the hearing of citizens and petitions. And this is an opportunity for any member of the public to be heard about issues which are not topics scheduled for public hearings tonight. To help facilitate an orderly meeting and permit all to be heard, speakers are asked to limit their comments to 3 minutes. And at this time, we'd like to mention that our administrator will give you a sign when you have 1 minute left. So, and please come forward. Who would like to make comments? Please introduce yourself. I know you, Rez, but you know. For the
Hello, committee. My name is Rez Estevez in Southern Boulevard in Chatham Township. I'm disappointed on the Township Committee's vote on Resolution 2019-069 pertaining to the constraints on R3 and R4 lots. That diminishes the property owner's rights, and for purchasers of pre-existing non-conforming lots, it constrains them as well. It's just an undue constraint on the present and the future, and that in turn affects the ratables that the town will be able to realize in the future. I'm particularly disappointed given the large, articulate, and vocal outpouring of public opposition and comment on it over the course of the last 2 meetings. The effectiveness of existing limits on home size can be managed under existing structure. The Township Committee supervises the planning and other boards, and instructing these boards directly to not be so open to giving variances, exceptions, and other such deviations from established rules. That's the smart, no-cost, low government, the smart, low-cost, small government solution. This proposal is going to result in additional expenditures on Township Committee, and again, that creates a risk of tax increase. This is not a constructive engagement model, and it's certainly not good government. I'm particularly and pointedly disappointed in the Republicans who voted to support this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. Next person, please come up to the microphone and introduce yourself, please.
Yes, Melissa Cavallone, live at 400 Fairmount Avenue. I have a couple of questions pertaining to recreation. Just wondering if at some point in the near future you'll be able to give us an update on the possible relocation of the skateboard park. I don't know if there's been much movement on that. I haven't heard anything for a while. Could be my fault for not being able to be here all the time, I know, but if there's an update in the future, I'd like to hear that. And also, it's coming up on baseball season, which means I'm going to be spending a lot of time at Shunpike, and it stinks. There's a big, there's always this porta-john, and when you walk by it and it's been sitting there in the sun, it really smells. So wondering if there's something we can do about that, maybe get it serviced more frequently, or in the future, maybe even open up the restrooms that are there, but not, they're always locked and not available to use. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, any other members of the public would like to make comments on anything? Okay, now we're moving forward. And what I have on the agenda is the introduction of an ordinance. Ordinance 2019-04 salary ordinance. And let's see. I may not have a copy here. Do you have a copy? Greg, why don't you take it from here and, if you don't mind, read the ordinance and.
The title of it is Ordinance 2019-04, an ordinance to provide minimum and maximum ranges for the compensation for certain positions of employment in the Township of Chatham in the County of Morris, New Jersey, effective January 1st, 2019. This ordinance will set the ranges of salaries, and I will defer to the administrator if he wants to comment.
Sure. Bob, would you like to give some feedback on that?
All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor. For members of the Township Committee, this is an annual ordinance that the committee considers. This ordinance is one of 3 items that are required for setting the compensation for staff members. This does not affect the PBA or the DPW because they have a contract, so they have already received their agreed to compensations for 2019. This ordinance is the governing body is being asked to introduce this ordinance tonight. There would be a public hearing on it on March 28th where the governing body could consider taking action on it. Some of the changes from this ordinance between 2019 and 2018 is that there is a line in here for the qualified purchasing agent, which is action that the Township Committee has taken earlier this year. The ordinance also lists the assistant pool manager or the second assistant pool manager, and there's also two lines for summer camp director and an assistant camp director, and that way, if there are enough people that sign up for the Colony Pool Camp, we have positions that can be funded. So the salary ordinance would include those positions. And the other item that's in here is the Township Committee and the Board of Education signed an agreement in December for a a SLEO 3 position, which is a Special Law Enforcement Officer. And that's a new position that was not here in 2018, so that is included in this ordinance.
Okay, great. Thank you, Bob. And do I have a motion to introduce the subject ordinance?
So moved.
Anyone to second it?
Second?
Okay, so I'm opening for committee discussion at this point.
Bob, I have a question regarding minimum wage and the, obviously it's been in the news lately a lot. When we look at some of our seasonal and hourly positions, well, particularly the seasonal positions, I guess, are they exempt from any minimum wage, potential change in minimum wage at the state level or anything else because they are seasonal?
Yes, that is correct. There is an exclusion for seasonal employees, for counselors and training, things of that nature. If you're a permanent part-time employee, you are not excluded from the new minimum wage laws.
Okay. As far as things like lifeguard are concerned, crossing guards, things like that, are we commensurate with surrounding communities so that we have the ability to attract and retain qualified people? I think that's always a concern, particularly where safety is a matter.
We appear to be for lifeguards. I cannot answer that question for crossing guards. I haven't looked at that.
Okay.
Okay, anything else from anyone else? Okay, so if there's nothing else, and Greg, can we call for vote, and so we can
Yes.
we can move forward?
Yes. Mrs. Ness?
Yes.
Mrs. Schwartz?
Yes.
Mr. Ritter?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Kelly?
Yes.
And Mayor Salin?
Yes.
And as previously noted, the public hearing will be on March 28th.
Excellent, thank you, Greg. And now, the next item is the consent agenda. Consent agenda, what does that mean? This is the routine items that may be passed by a single roll call vote. Any committee member may call for a separate discussion or on any item on this consent agenda. So, Greg, would you like to read through the resolutions?
Yes, sir. This evening we have Resolution 2019-76, payment of bills, 2019-77, approving meeting minutes, 2019-78, appointing colony pool manager, 2019-79, approving cancellation of preliminary taxes for disabled veteran, 2019-80, approving list of volunteers eligible for length of service award program, 2019-81, extending temporary budget, 2019-82, Municipal Alliance of the Committee of the Chatham's grant application, 2019-083, accepting proposal for implementation of court-ordered affordable housing compliance agreement.
Excellent, thank you very much, Greg. And you heard the resolutions. Do I have a motion to adopt those resolutions?
So moved.
Seconded?
Second.
Great, thank you. And anything to discuss? Any committee members, anything?
I
Okay.
would just like to point out, as I hope we already know, the LoSAP program is the Length of Service Awards program that we, as a township, and I know many, many communities, so prize their volunteer staff, the first responders and so on. And it really can't be said enough how much we appreciate our volunteers. And this is one way of showing that appreciation. These people give a lot of time to serving our community. So to repay them towards a retirement account, I think is tremendous, and I think it's a wonderful program.
Thank you, Karen. If there are no other comments, Greg, roll call vote, please.
Mrs. Ness?
Yes.
Mrs. Schwartz?
Yes.
Mr. Ritter? Mr. Ritter? Third call, Mr. Ritter? Deputy Mayor Kelly?
Yes.
Mayor Salin?
Yes. Thank you. Appreciate it. And now we have two discussion items. One is the use of open space tax, and the next one is the colony pool fees. And first one, I'm going to ask Bob to chime in on this.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is This use of the open space tax, this is something that the Township Committee has evaluated on an annual basis going back to approximately 2012. Last year, the Township Committee adopted an ordinance where they set the open space tax at 1 penny per $100 of assessed value. The Township Committee, and that ordinance was valid for calendar year 2018. If the Township Committee wishes to take action and review that, they would have to do it. They would have to do that sometime in the first quarter of 2019. If the Township Committee decides not to take any action, then the open space tax would return to 2 cents per $100 of assessed value. The governing body or the Township Committee is not being asked to make any decision tonight. They are being asked to evaluate the open space tax as they've done in the past. They are also going to be asked to give direction so that action can be taken at the March 28th meeting or the next meeting after that, but it would be preferable if it was the March 28th meeting because this is one of the factors in the final preparation of our municipal budget. There's an email that I had sent out to the governing body, and there's a copy of it on the table, and I do apologize for it being sent out at a later time, but it was right around dinner time. But I had wanted to give the governing body a summary and then an overview of the open space tax as I understood it, so that they would be able to help make it would be able to be used for the evaluation and the decision that has to be made. There are some options that have been laid out in the email for the governing body. There's options that have to do with the revenue for the open space tax would generate. It's important to note that the former Township Committee members, they made strategic decisions to purchase open space prior to 2006, and those were good decisions. The purchase of those properties is now part of permanent funding, and that will be paid off by the year 2022. And part of the open space tax is being used to pay down that permanent debt, that permanent financing, and that's about $140,000 for 2019. That's what it's projected to be. In 2017, the Township Committee authorized the purchase of open space, and the purchase price was approximately $2 million. That's what the ordinance was struck for. The Township Committee received grants totaling $500,000 in 2018 from Green Acres and also from T-Mobile, and that $500,000 was used to immediately pay down the bond anticipation note. So that property has a bond anticipation note on it of approximately $1.5 million. And so in our 2019 budget, we have an interest payment scheduled for $33,000 just on the interest on that bond anticipation note, I should say. If the governing body so chooses, there are some options that can be evaluated. One of the options is if the Township Committee chooses, there's the ability to pay off the bond anticipation notes within 4 or 5 years. That can, if the open space tax is kept at 2 cents and we use the additional penny to do that. And then there are some other scenarios that are in there. This is for the governing body to consider, and then to give us direction. But that would make the township debt-free for open space that it has purchased by approximately 2022. So.
Okay, thank you. And we have a finance committee meeting tomorrow, and we'll go through some of those things, and we'll come back to the full committee with some recommendations, I think. Okay, great. And
One other thing,
Sure.
if I may, we're going to, now that we've met with the auditors and we have a list of what our scheduled debt payments are, I want to be able to provide some kind of an analysis for the Township Committee so they can see, how we can level out our debt payments going forward. We're looking at an increase in our debt payments starting next year. Then there's going to be a spike, and then it would level off, and then it would be reduced. So the Township Committee, I know, wants to do what's best short term and long term. So this would be part of what we would provide.
When do we anticipate having discussion on the open space item, on the tax itself? And is now the time, or are we going to wait till we have an ordinance to be introduced, and then we will have the introduction and then the public hearing? Or are we having a discussion now?
Tonight, I believe, should be a discussion so that the Township Committee can ask questions, can give us some ideas to think about. Our goal would be to introduce an ordinance for the open space tax at the March 28th meeting, and then we would have a public hearing on that at the April 11th meeting, and that would also be the time when we're projecting to adopt the township budget.
All right. Just from where we stand on the amount of money that we're taking in at present with the 1% open space tax being what it is, and having raised that a year ago, if I'm not mistaken, it seems to me, and one thing that I have always been impressed by is our ability as a township to be able to focus on projects that are worthy of our open space fund and find a way of making sure those purchases went through. I think, obviously, the Giralda Farms transaction was of a really special coordination of fundraising and grants and so on. But even the recent purchase of the Southern Boulevard and River Road corner was done by pulling together a lot of different facets, as opposed to looking at a war chest that had been pulled together over a taxing year or 2 years with no real purpose. And when it came down to buying that property, we were able to cobble together a lot of different things, including debt. And when we did that, we were able to make that purchase, and we were able to pay it down. And when I think about the ability to maintain our taxes the way they are, to rely on future ratables, and to look at the amount of money we're taking in now, I think the idea of standing pat at a 1%, a 1 cent open space tax is probably the most palatable. I look at, we talk about our inventory of ratables. You and I spoke about that. We do have the good fortune of construction going on in our township, which definitely does refresh our ratables. And absent that, of course, people know where I stand on that. Absent that, we would perhaps even be called upon to raise the open space tax back to 2 cents. Additionally, we talk a lot about our AAA rating, our AAA bond rating, and the fact that we have a threshold that really puts us in a really, really terrific spot for the amount of debt that we as a township carry. And when you look at what's allowed by law, we're not even close to that. When you look at what really, to me, a prudent debt burden, I think we're in a great spot in that regard. If you look at our overall debt burden, when we look at raising taxes for the purpose of one certain thing as opposed to another, I'm a big fan of fungibility. I'm a big fan of making sure if we're raising funds, we should have the latitude to use them for a variety of purposes rather than putting it all in a designated bucket and saying we're only allowed to use that money for this purpose. So if it is an open space purchase, that's great, the money's there, but absent that, we've raised taxes for no immediate reason. That and in the interest of what we have to maintain as a community to be eligible for open space grants and other green acres, I should say, we have to have at least a half a cent. But between a half a cent and 1 cent shows to any green acres and any other grant applications that we really do have a vested interest in keeping our tax base participating in open space purchases. So when it comes to leaving our tax rate at 1%, that's what I would advocate for going forward.
Thank you, Ken. Any other comments? Sure.
If I may, Mayor, some of my thoughts, both for the Finance Committee when you meet and for the Administrator. Looking back at history, the open space tax was created by a public referendum, in fact, a series of public referendums, which repeatedly and by a wide margin approved the idea of paying up to 2 cents a year for open space. And I think that sent a strong signal in terms of the value that local residents put on open space. Now, that being said, I think that the Township Committee has very prudently kept it at half a cent in the years when that worked best and at 1 cent in the years where it worked best. And I think that my top priority looking at this particular situation, I think is exactly what Bob described as that the priority is that we don't want spikes in the tax rate that impacts our local residents. And we certainly don't want an unnecessary spike this year if a 2 cent raise is not beneficial. But we don't want to spike 2 or 3 years from now if the short-term borrowing for the existing open space is not paid off and the other things that are coming due all pile up and we are in a situation 3 years from now that we would rather not be in and could have avoided if we planned properly this year. So I guess the direction I'd give the Administrator is that top priority ought to be put on trying to do the best we can to smooth out the tax rate over the course of the foreseeable future of 2, 3, 4, 5 years. And if that works best by keeping the open space tax rate at 1% or 1 cent, then that would be my support. But if it works best by going to 2 cents this year and using that money to pay off the short-term borrowing, I would be supportive of that. Because what happens with borrowing is that you pay not just the principal, but you pay the interest. So if we are left with a long-term interest on this unpaid off note, we're going to be paying back far more than the 1.5 million that we owe now. So in a sense, we're saving money for our taxpayers if we accelerate a little bit, pay off the principal, and avoid accumulating all those years of interest. And if we can do that without spiking the tax rate, I think that's a smart thing to do. So that's what I'd like you to take into the Finance Committee meeting and with the Administrator as well and see which of those strategies works best with that goal in mind.
Excellent. Thank you, Mike. Anything else from anyone else?
Yeah, I just have a question. We have bond anticipation notes of $1.5 million, which was for the 2017 purchases. What is the totality of our bond anticipation notes as well as our remaining debt that is permanently financed? Do you know? Do you have any sense of?
Well, I do. What I'll do is I will send an email to the governing body with our spreadsheet about that because we were looking at we were evaluating doing whether it made sense to convert bond anticipation notes to permanent debt, and that was looking at it for this year. That was approximately $9.7 million when you include the sewer utilities. But what I will do is I will send out to the full Township Committee by next Wednesday so that we can proof it. Our bond payout. So it'll list some our old bonds, and then it will list a payout schedule that goes out several years, and then I'll highlight where there's a potential spike in our future debt service so that the governing body can see, and then that way we'll have objective information so that the Township Committee can make a decision and give direction.
Okay, excellent. And I'm just going to add one more thing, that at the center of my thinking is that, we're here to do the services, do the good work, and not raise the taxes. So, as a member of this committee, as a mayor, my number one priority is keeping taxes as they are, as long as we can, hopefully for the long term. So that is the goal, and we're going to go through the numbers tomorrow and probably again and again for next few days, and not including Sunday. Just want to make sure. All right, so if there's anything else.
Well, I would like to clarify,
Sure.
our ability to pay down our open space bond anticipation notes outstanding principal can come from a lot of different sources, right?
It can.
Right?
Yes.
So if all of a sudden you find that an expense has gone away, or if revenues are coming in higher in general, which we anticipate as we reassess new properties, that when revenues increase, we can turn around and pay down debt of any variety. Although notwithstanding the WPC, I don't know, are we allowed to use regular general revenue to pay down the water treatment debt? I can't imagine why we wouldn't be.
Only a percentage of it. So
Okay.
there's a calculation for that.
Sure, because that's its own revenue generating
Correct.
item, because they
Correct.
have our regular sewer charges.
Right, and just as, as an aside for that, when you look at the old debt for the open space purchases prior to 2006, when it went to permanent financing, I believe 24% of the permanent financing was dedicated to those properties that were purchased before 2006.
Right, okay.
All right, excellent, thank you, and we extensively discussed this matter. Now we're going to the next item, the colony pool fees. And I'm going to open to the discussion of this committee. And so I want to just mention my comments first. And I have received comments from the members of this committee, and everybody has good ideas and had good ideas. And so what I would like to, first I want to just mention something. So the fees are driven by the ordinance, right? So ordinance 2018-09. So I have it in my hand. So it has the fees for particular categories, individuals, family, and senior, and out of town, non-resident, resident. So this is in the ordinance. So anything we want to change, just so we know, now I'm becoming I'm taking your job, and I'm explaining, and then it has to be an ordinance change, and it will not be tonight. It will be probably, it will require 2 meetings because we need to have the public to comment on that. So that can happen probably next meeting. Then after that, the following meeting, we can vote on it if we are to change anything, okay? So here's my idea. I looked at the numbers and the membership rates and the revenues, honestly, too. So apparently what the trend is, the revenues are going down. And the rates are going up, revenues are going down. So that means what we're doing is not working. And so that's my result of the analysis, quick analysis. So what I would propose to make some small reductions to boost the membership. And so my specific proposal is seniors above 62, higher than 60, obviously 62, and out of town and in town, make it same and bring it down $25. First responders, bring it down $25. And veterans, bring it down $25. And everything else remains the same. So I believe that would drive the membership positively, and it will help the revenues to increase as well. So I think we owe it to our seniors, our first responders, and veterans. So that's what I would like to propose, but obviously let's discuss it with the committee. So anyone who would like to mention? Yes, Bob.
Mr. Mayor, just as a point of...
I have a comment or two.
Yes, Kurt, you can go ahead.
Could I just make the point of order before...
Yeah, Kurt, can you hold on just 1 second? Bob would like to make a comment.
Okay. Mr. Mayor, the Township Committee passed a LoSAP resolution tonight, which lists all of the members that are entitled to a reduction in fees, including the pool ordinance. They're entitled, the folks that are eligible for LoSAP are entitled to a 50% reduction in the fee for the appropriate pool membership category.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe I just heard you say you would like to reduce that by a dollar amount. That dollar amount may, the 50% that they're currently entitled to may be more than that dollar amount. So that was just the point of order that I wanted to make.
Okay, great. So, okay, then it's part of the ordinance. It's already 50% off for the Chatham Emergency Squad, Green Village Fire Department, Volunteer Fire Department, and Chatham Township Volunteer Fire Department, who are eligible for the Length of Service Award Program, LoSAP. Okay, so that means my proposal is excluding 50% discounted. Whoever receives 50% discount will be excluded from $25 reduction. Am I making it complicated? Well, let's discuss it with the committee. Maybe we can come up with different ideas. And Kurt, you can go ahead if you have comments.
Yeah. So can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. My phone's dying, so I'll try to speak quickly. I think it's noble to offer discounted rates for our first responders and veterans. Though, as Bob indicated, they already receive a 50% reduction in the fee via LoSAP. I think more importantly, though, we need to consider the makeup of the membership itself, and I'm not quite sure if our emergency first responders and veterans actually make up any significant portion of the membership. That being said, what I'm proposing for our membership fees for Colony Pool Club this year, and if you can follow with me because I'm reading off of my notes here, would be the family membership for Chatham Township residents going from $525 to $500, couple from $410 to $400. Individual remains the same at $250. Senior citizens, single, goes from $75 to $70. Senior citizen couple goes from $125 to $120. And then in terms of non-resident rates, I suggest we go from family from $715 to $725, couple $590 to $600, and then the senior citizen rates actually reduce to match those of the Chatham Township residents. So in short, Chatham Township residents see a reduced rate, non-residents increase their rates plus minus $10. I think if we do reduce the rate for our Chatham residents, it could increase the membership and might play into the efforts of attracting folks to the Colony summer camp. So that's my proposal.
All right, since everybody's making their proposal, I'll go ahead and make mine. I like to look at analysis and numbers and figure out what's actually happening. So I looked at numbers from 2016, 2017, and 2018. Those were 3 recent years where we've had rate increases and how that corresponded to the membership. So in 2016, a family resident paid $449. We had 166 members, 166 memberships. In 2017, that was increased to $475, and we increased to 191 memberships. Then, when the proposal was made to increase that rate by $50, so it was a $25 increase from 2016 to 2017. When the proposal was made to increase the family resident rate $50 from $475 to $525, we declined from 191 memberships to 141 memberships, and that equated to a $30,000 loss in revenue, which is not a winning strategy.
What was what was the figure of memberships that you just read? Was that family memberships or?
These are family resident memberships.
Family resident memberships for 2018?
18 declined from 191 in 2017 to 141 in 2018. The rate in 2017 was 475, where we experienced a nice increase. And the decrease, the significant decrease and the resulting loss in $30,000 of revenue came when we increased the rate by $50 last year.
Tracy, do you happen to have when in fact the fees for family membership was $550, which by my math is $25 more than it was last year in 2018?
The analysis, Kurt, I did was 2016, 2017, and 2018, which were the three most recent rate increases.
Well,
so I wanted to provide a correlation.
Tracy, that's convenient, but unfortunately does not answer my question. When in 2014, the rates were actually $25 more than they were in 2018 at $550 for a membership, when in 2018, the membership fees were $525.
I don't understand your question.
All right, wait. I want to just say something.
I believe he's saying that.
Everybody, I'd like to
Kurt,
just mention. Kurt, hold on one second, please.
Kurt, are you saying in 2014 that a family membership was $550?
I would like to say something here.
That's exactly what I'm saying. And if Tracy is trying to make her argument that membership decreased as the membership fees went up, I think it would be warranted and prudent to look at the membership numbers were in 2014. Argue that as the membership fees went up, there were other circumstances perhaps that attracted people to other clubs, other camps, or other facilities, as it were, versus the increased fees that attracted people somewhere else.
Okay, I wanted to just mention about something that I would like to encourage you all, 5 of us here, including myself, and your comments shouldn't be directed to each other. And your comments should be... let me finish. Kurt, let me finish, please.
She brought it up as a colleague.
No, I understand. Kurt, let me finish.
Liaison. That's why I'm directing them to
Kurt, that's fine, that's fine.
Clarification purposes. Thank you.
I appreciate it. And your comments should be directed to me as the chair of this meeting. And that is the most effective way.
As the representative for the Colony Pool Club, the liaison, which is what Tracy is, I think she is the most apt person on the committee at this point to answer these questions. That's why I'm directing the question.
Kurt, you direct it to me, and I will direct it to Tracy. So it shouldn't be a back and forth.
Okay, Tyler, I'm directing the question to you. Can you please ask Tracy to answer my question, please?
Okay, so we will discuss it all together here. When the time comes, if she feels that she needs to respond, this is a collective group, right? So I am managing the meeting, leading the meeting, and I would like to make sure it's effective and efficient. So that's why I wanted to just make sure. And okay, so
we can do so when the representative of the respective committee answers the question. Thank you.
Excellent. Appreciate it. Thank you. Okay,
I
good.
still don't understand the question.
The question was, I think, and
I can reiterate the question if you'd like, Tracy. You speak of that. You would like me to reiterate the question, or do you want to handle?
You wanted to go further in the past than 3 years, right? So you said 2014 number was $25 more than the 2017. You said you can repeat what you said, Kurt.
Yes, my point was in 2014 the family membership was $550. So I would be curious to know what the membership was in 2014 when the membership fee was exceeded what it was last year. I think Tracy is trying to make a point that as fees went up, membership went down. I would be curious to know what the total membership numbers were in 2014 when those fees exceeded the most recent numbers.
Okay.
Do we have that, Bob?
May I?
Sure, please.
Mr. Mayor, members of the committee, what I can do is I pulled the with the help of the clerk, I pulled the 2014 pool ordinance right before the meeting, so I can add that to the spreadsheet for the Township Committee's consideration tomorrow. Community Pass has been down for most of today. They've been down for a couple of days. Their service has been intermittent. We do have a report that I will be able to confirm. I do believe that Committeewoman Ness's numbers are accurate, but we will reconcile them against the report that we were able to receive late this afternoon. It was an internal report from them. But
Will we have access to the membership numbers?
Yeah, we will.
Of
we'll
2014?
We'll attach that to the spreadsheet so that
Great.
so that everybody has the same information. It's cross-referenced. Just looking at the 2014 ordinance, and I'm looking at its ordinance number 2014-06. The fee for the family pool and tennis was $550
Right.
then, but the fee for the family pool is $475.
Without tennis?
Without the tennis. So that would be the number that I would be using in the spreadsheet, would just be for the family.
Bob, with all respect, to clarify, we have not charged for tennis since 2015. So when we say family pool was $475, family pool and tennis is $550. Last year, at family at $525, that included pool, tennis, bocce ball, grills, and everything else that's available at the club itself.
All right.
So from my perspective, when you say pool and tennis, $550, that's the equivalent of $525 last year.
Okay. Thank you, Kurt. Yes, Bob.
So then,
Did you want to say something?
now that point's been clarified, because I'm the newbie here, then I would use the $550 when I did the when I put that into the spreadsheet. But just reading it, I would have undercalculated that. I would have used the $475. So so I appreciate the clarification.
Well, just for clarification too, we did used to sell Colony Pool as Colony Pool and Tennis, and there was a Colony Pool swim and tennis membership, a swim membership, and it's my understanding that now all the courts are public and that Colony Pool does not manage, nor do we offer, a Colony Pool and Tennis Club. So in some way, you would have to disaggregate that $550 and whatever it was in 2015, because we're no longer offering that. We don't have special access to the courts.
That is actually incorrect, Tracy. Right? When you join the Colony Pool Club, you have access to the tennis courts as a member of the Colony Pool Club, just as you have access to the tennis courts if you are not a member. It is all inclusive.
Okay. So
I just want to clarify this though, because these were turned into all 6 courts are public now. They used to be locked, so that Colony Pool members could use the 4 courts that were, if you look at the courts, they're partitioned off. There were 2 courts that were public use and 4 courts that were private use for Colony Pool and tennis members. So I don't know when the change was made, Kurt. Was it 2015 that you disaggregated it and you don't?
I'm trying to avoid this.
Okay. So, Tayfun, when was it disaggregated? And all the courts are public and there is no special membership for Colony Pool for tennis.
Okay. So I think we all want to do the same thing. I think we want to drive the membership, all of us, right? So, and everyone proposed some kind of reductions here, right? So except for, I remember Kurt was proposing, which I haven't heard from you, I'm sorry, and
That's quite
you
all right.
haven't,
No
I haven't heard from you either. And I just heard one increase, the family non-resident, I think Kurt mentioned 715 to 725. It's a very slight increase. And so maybe we should just go through quickly and just get some kind of consensus. And then next step would be, based on our consensus, we can amend the the ordinance, the last ordinance, then we'll take it from there. Because we can analyze this forever, analyze this for next 5 meetings and until the fall, and then it will be no colony pool, whatever the number is, right?
I do think, though, it's important to look at the rates and the corresponding revenue. And Bob, if you want to look at 2015 and 2014 and part of your analysis and kind of disaggregate the tennis membership from the swim membership, beginning with 2016, I believe it was just Colony Pool. And I can provide this to all the committee members. I read the family rates, the family non-resident rate. We had 324 members at $620, the cost of $620 in 2016. We had 289 at $670, and then we went down to 214. So we lost 100 members with a rate increase over the family non-resident.
With all due respect, Tracy, you were
Colony Pool, the
less
borough pool.
Kurt, just 1 second, Kurt, please.
The borough pool does not distinguish between members and non-members. And I'm going to advocate for doing the same.
Between members and non-members, or?
I'm sorry, residents and non-residents.
Okay, all right, so
And
Kurt was,
I'm going to advocate doing the same.
Kurt was trying to say
If you,
something. I'm sorry, Tracy, you're not done yet?
I'm not done, no.
Okay, hold on, Kurt, please, let Tracy finish up. Okay.
Senior couple went from 72 to 76 to 62 with a rate increase from 75 to 122 over those 3 years. Senior individual actually increased when the fee went from 50 to 75. We increased 6 members. Non-resident senior couples, we decreased significantly. Their fee went from 100 to 150 to 200, and the decline went from 40 to 26 to 22. Couples, resident couples, we also decreased significantly. It was $340 in 2016. We had 36. It went down to, I'm sorry, 340. We had 36. It went to 360. We had 10. And then actually it went up. We increased it by $50 to $410 for a couple, and it went up 14, but it's down from 36 at the 340 level. So we've made some significant rate increases, $25, $50, depending on the rate categories. And looking at charging $715 for non-resident families, that has been really the biggest effect, going from 324 members to 214 members. So we have to look at what we want to do. The $30,000 decrease in revenue this year is a significant decrease. And you have to strike the value point where members are going to find value in the club and be willing to pay for it. And I think looking at the 2017 numbers, where we did experience an increase in membership in family, an increase in senior couples, an increase in senior individual, decrease in non-resident seniors, a significant decrease in couples, it kind of strikes the balance in 2017. And those rates would be $475, the family non-resident at $650. We've seen such a precipitous decline that I think it really should be even just a slight difference for non-residents, or no difference at all, as the borough does for their memorial pool.
If there's that kind of decline, I can't believe that it's all based on price.
Did we change any services from
That's-
17 to
it's a
18? Does
question
anyone
that
know
has to
here
be
in this committee?
asked.
I mean, I don't have it, I don't know.
Right? I mean, it can't just be based on $50.
I would have to concur, Karen.
Yeah.
Once again, I think it's a knee-jerk reaction from Tracy as it relates to her point of view here. I would like to ask her, as a Colony Pool Club liaison, what other research
Right.
did she do to determine what other extenuating circumstances or whatever activities were taking place where people may have not renewed their membership because, one, their children may have aged out of the Colony Pool Club. They may have been attracted to the Noe Pond Club, Fish and Game, Minnesink, Fairmont. Other clubs are also aggressive in terms of marketing and promoting themselves. And I can guarantee you, and we've talked about in the past, that a Colony Pool Club is the best value you can get of any municipal pool in the surrounding communities, be it Chatham Borough, Summit, Madison, New Providence. And to suggest that we have a equal membership fee for borough residents and township residents, I think is crazy.
Okay.
Why should township residents not get the benefit of having a facility in their own town versus the borough? You know why the borough has the same membership fee for township and borough residents? Because they can't get anyone to join the borough municipal pool. They invested nearly $500,000 renovating that thing, and they can't get anyone to jump in the pool. We should not be in that same position. This is a township pool, a township facility, township at a discount versus non-residents. Non-residents aren't just borough residents. They're Providence, Madison, Summit residents as well.
Thank you, Kurt. Okay, so no, again, direct questions to each other. And any other comments? Mike, anything? No?
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult as someone who has not been involved the way Kurt has in the past and as Tracy is now with the Colony Pool. It's difficult to follow these numbers, and I'm sure for the audience it's even harder. You know, I think that I agree with the strategy is that we want to build membership, and I think it's just a matter of what's the best way to do that. And I'd be interested, has the Colony Pool Advisory Committee weighed in on fees that they think would go the best way to building their membership?
Yes, as a matter of fact, we had a meeting last night. We received, and we also received letters. We received 2 letters from residents saying that they felt that the Colony Pool fee was too high. And we received a letter from Jim Conley on behalf of the seniors and on behalf of the first responders that they would like to see no increase on the current rates. I can only go by the numbers that we have. And I'm sure there's a myriad of reasons. I certainly don't think that spending close to $10,000 to join a private club and up is a driver from people who are looking to spend or maybe saying that $615 is too expensive. That's a huge leap to make between $615 and saying, oh, well, now I'm really compelled to join and spend $10,000. That's just too big of a leap. To say that they're...
Tracy, please, with all due respect, this is not talking about Fairmont Country Club. You can talk about Fish and Game, you can talk about Noe, you can talk about Minnesink. You always compare things to Fairmont Country Club, a private club.
Thank you, Kurt.
Compare it to other public municipal pools. Typhoon, I'm directing this to Tracy because she is making the comments.
Okay, but you're interrupting, Kurt, so maybe because you're on the phone.
I'm trying to address the fallacies that are taking place right now.
Well, it's not a fallacy. I'm happy, Kurt, to listen to your analysis of the local pool rates. So if you want to go ahead and do that.
Well, did Tracy, as the representative of the Colony Pool Club, has your committee done the analysis and compared our rates compared to Summit, Madison, New Providence, and other municipalities?
Yeah,
How do those rates compare?
We're actually... I looked for any notes, Kurt, that you had provided from 2018, but I didn't find any. So I went ahead and just, pulled it off the website. And if you'll give me a minute, I think I have it here, that membership at the Summit Pool is $395 for families, $160 for individuals, and $70 for senior citizens. So that would be Summit. So we're significantly higher than Summit, which is a very large facility. If you can just wait,
Let-
if you can hang on
let
a
her
second,
finish.
Kurt, I'm just
Wait,
going
wait,
to
wait,
answer your
everybody.
question.
One at a time. No, Kurt, please, one at a time. Please, one at a time.
The
Kurt, please,
Madison,
let her finish, then you will finish. I will make sure that you will finish. But you know what? Kurt, let her finish, then I will make sure nobody will interrupt you. I promise you. Let's finish it, please.
the Madison pool, according to their website, for the 29-19 season, resident family is $525, which is the same as ours, which is a pool, an actual pool facility. Non-resident is $650, a couple is $375, an individual is $250, a senior is $95. So they're slightly higher in some categories. They're the same for a family membership. And for the New Providence pool, they are requested to pay a $450 capital cost reduction, capital contribution when they join of $450, and then a family membership is $455. Senior citizen is $95.
So the first year for them is $1,000 to join the New
So
Providence?
the
Is that what
first
that-
year, yeah, and then going forward, so they require a capital contribution. They're the only one that seems to require a capital
Yeah, I haven't heard that
contribution.
before.
And they're a New Providence pool, having belonged to it many years ago, is an enormous facility. They have 3 pools. It's huge. Absent the $450 capital costs, we are priced at the top of local community pools, with the exception of the Madison Community Pool, where we're at the same, $525.
Okay. Tracy, are you finished?
Yes.
Okay. Kurt, please speak up.
Yeah, again, I would respectfully disagree. I'd be curious to know in your analysis if you also looked at the amenities that each of these pools, note the word pool versus pond, offer their members. Do they have tennis? Do they have basketball? Do they have the various playground facilities and tetherball and such? These pools are just that, a pool. What other analysis did you do to compare the facilities as it relates to the amenities of each?
Okay.
And thus, maybe that's why Colony Pool Club warrants fees that are commensurate with the amenities being offered its members.
Okay. All right. Apparently, there's a disagreement, and
It's not disagreement. This is the question of amenities, right? It's like you can go buy a car for $10,000, or you can get all the bells and whistles on it, and it'll cost you $15,000.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
If you want to buy a car that has no air conditioning, no radio, and all it has is just, it gets you from point A to point B, gets you $10,000. You want a comfortable car, it's going to cost you more. Right? You want to go to a pool club that has amenities that can entertain the family throughout the summer versus just a pool where you jump in the water and cool off. All right? Then you go to a municipal pool like the borough. That's not what we have in the township, and we should not compare ourselves to these pools.
Okay.
I have to say, having gone to Summit Pool, having belonged to New Providence Pool, that has 3 pools, a playground, a swim team, a food service. I can't remember when the last I didn't walk all the way around the Summit Pool facility, but it's lovely. And the Madison Pool is very popular, and Colony is a very nice pool facility as well. There hasn't been as much investment into improving the amenities there. We now don't offer the tennis courts as part of the membership. It's now public, so pretty much anybody can, which is wonderful that anybody can use the tennis courts. And you do have people, and I hear this from people, I happen to love the kind of pond-like and the zero entry and the sand. I think it's wonderful, especially when you have small kids. I think that is a tremendous value add. But then you also hear from a lot of people who don't want that. They want a real swim team, and a real swim team by I mean has an Olympic-sized pool, that kind of thing. They don't want the sand. They don't like the shade.
Doesn't Colony have a swim team, though?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Colony has a swim team, and I would argue that the Colony swim team is great. I would not call it not a real swim team.
Well, it's not that it's not. Those
Let's,
were,
now
I'm sorry.
we're going to not end this discussion. I mean, honestly, guys, we can discuss forever. And now, if we want to come to some kind of common ground here, I think everyone here is trying to make the membership higher, drive the membership, build the membership, right? So you came up with a bunch of numbers, Kurt. You proposed some numbers, specific numbers for specific categories. Apparently you did your research, that's great, and you proposed small reductions on many of these, except one or two maybe small increases.
For the non-residents, correct.
For non-residents, yeah, okay.
Should get the benefit of the facility that their tax dollars are paying for.
Okay, perfect.
Non-residents, they're not paying any tax
All right,
dollars.
so-
They're just benefiting from our facilities.
Okay, what I'm going to do is real quick, I would like to just go through each and come up with consensus. So in the next meeting, we can, revise the ordinance accordingly and proceed with the vote in this following meeting. So the family, we're talking about now resident family. 2018 is 525, membership 141. Prior year 475, membership 191. Apparently we don't know exactly why it went down about 20%, maybe more, actually 25-30%. So my suggestion to bring it down $25. Kurt, what did you suggest? What was your number? I think you said 510 or something like that.
My suggestion for Chatham Township residents, family, was 525 to 500.
Okay, perfect. All right, stop there. 525. Okay, we're saying. What do we think? Three of us. I mean, I said what I thought, but Tracy, what's your number?
I'd like to go back to the 2017 numbers when we experienced a significant increase in membership.
Okay. Mike, do you have a preference?
I'm comfortable with 500.
Okay. Do you have a preference?
Yeah, I agree with 500. 500
okay.
is fine.
So 500. All right. So it's kind of, I'm voting. I'm not voting, but I'm just, these are suggestions, okay? So can I just go through that quickly? Okay. And couple, 410. Kurt, what was your number?
I was suggesting dumping it to 400.
Bring it down to 400. Okay, Kurt says 400. Tracy, would you have a number?
Again, I would suggest the 2017 rates when we had the highest increase in membership, and that would be 360.
Okay, 360, 400. Do you have a preference?
What was that? I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. What was that?
$360, Kurt.
She said 360. You said 400.
2017, I don't think we had a couple rates. We did not have a couple
There's no
rates.
couple rates,
There's a blank on my spreadsheet.
But that's
here.
fine. That's fine. She said 360. You said 400. Do you have a preference, Mike?
We added a couple rate in 18.
Kurt, let me finish the round here. I got your number. Do you have anything? No? Do you have anything?
No,
Okay.
400 is fine. If
400,
I'm looking
400.
at this number for couple memberships, we had 14 people.
Okay.
So
I want to
we're
propose.
talking really about.
For your reference, the 2016 number for the couple was $340.
340.
I want to propose again $25 reduction, which is $385. Can you live with that, Karen?
It's not about Kurt and Karen living with this. It's like
Because Tracy wants a lower number. You want higher number. I'm asking you because you want it higher.
No, Texan, I don't want a higher number, right? I'm trying to reduce the number to get some memberships, people attracted to the Colony Pool Club. I think we dropped it $10 to 400. It's an even number. It's a simple number. A couple, they've got more disposable income than a family. I think that's a reasonable number.
Okay. I got your number, and in my opinion, it's not impactful enough. Just $10, which is 2.5%, and so just make it more, enticing. I would suggest $385.
I can live with 385.
385.
I'm fine with 385.
You're fine with that? Okay.
385 is great.
All right, good.
That's great.
Individual, $250. Kurt, you mentioned 250 or 235? What was your number?
I didn't suggest any reduction in the individual. Again,
You wanted
I think
to
as you
leave
get to the point where you don't have families and you're a couple, your dinks and your individuals, you have more disposable income. I think you can afford these great facilities and the great amenities that
Okay.
Holland Pool Club offers.
All right,
I
just
would remain at 250.
just the numbers at this point. Okay, 250. Tracy, what was your suggestion?
My suggestion
Going back to
for
2017.
individual memberships.
Yep.
This is 14 years or older,
Individual, it says. Yeah.
and it's currently at
250.
250,
It used to be 235, 2017.
235, and I mean it's such a low number. It's 12, 12, and 13.
Just leave it at
So
250.
I would just say 235.
Okay. 250.
250. It's really, it's one person.
All right,
It's not gonna,
I
that's
support-
not a game changer.
All right, I got it. 250, I support. Okay, done.
Fine.
Senior,
Mr. Mayor,
he said fine.
I said fine.
You said fine, right?
Yes.
I would like to reduce it.
He and I are on the same page. Senior 75, I proposed $25 reduction. And Kurt, what did you say about the senior, resident senior?
My suggestion for seniors was $70.
Okay.
In 2014, the senior fee was $100.
Okay, got it. That's fine. You
again,
said 70. That's fine,
Not for
Kurt.
nothing, $70 for an entire summer worth of facilities.
70.
Someone can do the math, it's less than $1 a day.
I got it. All right, I'm trying to make it quick because we have like 10 more items here. All right, 70.
Yeah, I agree what you're trying to do here, but let's be reasonable here. With all due respect, it costs money to run this facility, and if we want to let everyone come in for free, then we can subsidize the whole thing and open it up to everyone. $70 for seniors to come to the pool, and not only that, when the temperature reaches over 85 degrees, I'm pretty sure. I think it's 85 degrees.
90.
The pool is open to all seniors, whether or not you have a membership.
Right.
I understand. I understand your reasoning, but we're not even at the 2017 rates. Everything that we just approved or we agreed is still above 2017 rates, and we're trying to make some reduction to drive the membership. And I get your reasoning. I'm not disagreeing, but there's a way to probably drive the membership. So 70, 50. What did you?
For a senior individual, I would say go for $50.
50. Tracy?
50 would be the 2017 rate, yeah.
50.
Fine.
50. Okay. 50. Greg, you're taking it, or I'm taking it as well. I
Bob
can give
is
you this
writing it
also.
down
Bob,
over
you're
here.
taking it as well. Okay, perfect. And senior couple, I wanted to reduce this from 125 to 100. I'm going to go to you first, Tracy.
It went from 75 with 100 senior couples in 2015 to 62, so we had a reduction of just 10, with an increase from 75 to 122, and I would be comfortable with, what did you just propose?
I proposed from 125 to 100. That's what I proposed. Senior
I
couple.
would be comfortable with that.
Okay. What do you think, Deputy Mayor?
Fine.
Okay, fine.
100 is fine.
Kurt, we have an agreement, four of us here, $100. Would you agree with that?
For senior,
Fine, that's fine.
Okay.
senior couple.
Babysitter, I propose not to touch that number.
Good.
And
Yep.
everybody's agreeing? Okay. Kurt, we have an agreement, $100 for the babysitter.
Sure.
All right, adult twilight, I don't know what to, it's $5, leave it alone. All right, now non-resident rates. Non-resident rates. Family, it is right now $7.15. I proposed, wait, what did I propose? I didn't propose anything. Okay, Tracy, what do you propose for family non-resident?
Again, looking at the numbers, we had 100 member decrease from the 620 rate to the 715 rate. I don't believe it should be significantly different, if at all different, because our goal is to drive membership and create revenue for the pool, whether they're on one side of Lafayette or the other side of Lafayette. So if we don't get revenue, we're not reducing the subsidy no matter what side of Lafayette you live on. So for a non-family resident at 715 and losing 100 members over that time period, I would propose, if our membership is going to be 500 for family residents, that it should be 600 for non-residents.
Okay.
If we're not going to do it at parity, then, which I would prefer to do at parity. I think it makes no difference what side of
So
Lafayette.
you're saying non-residents 600? That's what you just said. Is that what you?
If the
what you're
desire
saying?
is to keep that rate increased and
Okay, so
not
that's-
to have parity, then
All right, I respect
that
your
would be a
opinion.
compromise.
Karen, do you have a number in mind?
I am for leaving it the same or even raising it per Kurt Ritter, at
Okay.
least 715. And frankly, I think that any additional money like that is best spent on marketing.
Okay.
I really believe there has got to be some sort of cachet. We've tried it. You can't tell me people are walking away because of $75. I
Okay.
just don't believe it.
So you're saying raise it to 725? Is that what you're saying?
725, 715, one way or another. I'm
All
not
right,
for, I'm
715,
not
okay.
for marking it down.
Any preference for you, Mike?
I'm looking back 2 years when it was 625 compared to 715 and that seeing that large drop in membership. So I think we should drop it dramatically to the 600, 625 range.
All right, so you want 625. We have one 715, one 725. Just to make it complicated, I'm going to make it, I'm going to propose 675.
The Chatham Township families are the ones who are paying for this facility through their tax dollars every day, whether they belong or not. We have to keep that in mind. So to start giving away bargains to people who are not taxpayers is
That's fine.
wrong to me.
We're not agreeing. I mean, I said 675. What we agreed for family resident 500. So it's still $175 difference. So 675, it's much higher than Mike and Tracy proposed, and not much lower than what you proposed and Kurt
So
proposed.
why don't we just make it an even 700, quite frankly? Again, I think Typhoon, as the mayor of Chatham Township, I think you should be focused on what is the best interest of township residents. To Karen's point, as I said earlier, township residents, whether you're a member of the Colony Pool Club or not, you are paying for its operations, you're paying for its improvements, you're paying for everything that goes into that club. Right?
Yeah,
Why
Kurt,
should
I agree with you.
non-residents, be it Borough, Summit, New Providence, Madison, have the ability to take advantage of Chatham Township taxpayers? I don't think that is a good message to send to Chatham Township residents who are spending their dollars to fund this club if they're not members. In fact, I would also propose, and I would like to suggest as a sidebar, perhaps we should suggest that Chatham Township residents be the first ones who get first opportunities for positions as lifeguards, colony, camp counselors. I think Chatham Township residents should get priority for any of those.
Now, Kurt, this is not the discussion on the table right now. You understand what your point is, and let's get through this. I got it. So you said 725. I got your point, and I'm suggesting $25 reduction. What did I suggest? 675. I'm sorry. I suggested
675.
675. I suggested. So we have three numbers, and we'll pick one next week. I mean, when we get to it.
If I may?
Sure.
I believe Committeeman Ritter suggested as a compromise 700.
700.
So there's...
It's a nice round number.
700 is good, but it's only 2%. My opinion, it's not going to be impactful, and that's why even 680 would do it for me. But you know, I just wanted to go back because it has to be. I mean, we still have $175 difference in between resident and non-resident, and they're paying the premium for our facility in Chatham Township. But the best interest to Chatham Township is also if we drive the membership. That's the best interest. If we have Chatham outside of Chatham, $1,000, if there's one person or none, it wouldn't serve our interest. So that's my point. But I'm not saying you're not wrong, and just a different way of thinking, how do we drive revenue?
In 2014, non-residents paid $675. I think they can pay $25 at least more 5 years later and pay $700 with a $15 discount from last year, with all due respect.
Okay, but
I can only go back to the numbers.
that's fine. You know what?
And we had 100 people drop out from the rates of $620 to $715.
All right.
That's just the facts.
Right? That's fake news. That's what they say, fake news. You're attributing every reduction in membership, renewals or membership in general is due to the rates. Show me where you how you come up with that analysis. Show me that Noe, Menacing, Fishing Game, other pool clubs in the surrounding areas have not increased because of other reasons.
We're not, guys, we're not.
I'm not going to compare it to private clubs because the cost differential is just too much.
No talking to each other, guys. Listen, please help me here and help yourself as well to manage this meeting effectively. Please, 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 do not directly speak to each other. I know part of the problem is Kurt is on the phone. If he was here, it would be probably less. Because
Trust me, if I was there, I would still be directing the questions to Tracy. She is the representative colony. I thought she'd have these answers. I'm sorry.
as procedure, I'm the chair. No, Tracy.
I'm sorry, Tayfun. I was clear with Kurt that as the colony pool liaison for 3 out of the last 5 years, that I would be happy to review his analysis that he made the request of. Then in 2018, as liaison for the colony pool, rates went up $50. Kurt, if you would like to present your analysis that you did to raise the rates for $50, I would be more than happy to look at it. I asked you for that 2 weeks ago. I have not received it.
Tracy?
On my own, I have done an analysis based on
Can I adjourn the
current
meeting now?
membership.
Tracy, you can ask the people to your right of you, okay? But everyone on that day has voted in support of fees last year. So please direct your comments and questions to everyone else on that day
Okay,
as
great.
well.
Honestly, I agree with Kurt here. He directed to me as the chair. Please. Otherwise, we won't get through this. And okay, 700 and 600 and 685.
No, I'm at 625.
I'm sorry, 625, 625, 675, 700 and 750. We're so close, and I'm in the middle. As I'm sitting in the middle, numbers are I'm in the middle with the number. So I suggest that you make the compromise, all of us here, and go with 685, 675.
675.
Are we okay with that?
I'm not.
No.
You're not okay. Okay, that's fine. And then we'll be determined. We don't know the number for family. Couple, we have $590, non-resident. Any suggestions for couple? And Tracy, I'll start with you.
This is non-resident couple?
Non-resident couple. Now, we're only non-residents we're talking about.
Non-resident,
It's $590, the most recent number. It used to be $510 in 2016 and $450 in 2015.
so non-resident couples, just to give again, an analysis, we only have 6.
Yeah.
And that's up from 4 and down from non-resident couples 10. So not a significant difference because we just don't have that many. So in 2017, the rate for non-resident couple was $510. Actually, there is no rate for non-resident couple in 2017. Maybe it's on here, non-resident couple.
I have nothing on my spreadsheet.
Yep, I have nothing in mind.
Non-resident couple in 2017 was $442. So it went from $442 to $590.
Okay, what would you suggest for upcoming year, this year?
I would suggest 5.
You suggest 5, what? 510?
We're at non-resident couple of $590. I would suggest $450.
Okay. And any preference?
450 sounds like a ballpark correct number for me.
All right, I suggest 550. What do you suggest?
I actually am totally off the run, and I suggest 600. If you're
Okay.
talking about a non-resident couple,
Okay.
there are 4 of them, 4 non-resident couples. I mean, frankly, if they're going to come to Colony Pool for $300 a man for the whole summer and enjoy it, if that's really what they're enjoying, then
Okay.
I think $300 a man for the whole summer for a non-resident couple is fine.
Okay. So you suggested
I'm
600.
saying $600.
And
So
Teresa
that's a-
suggested 410,
that's
and
an
Mike
increase.
suggested 410. And
Yeah,
Kurt,
I
what
would
was your
have to
number?
agree- I would have to agree with Karen. I'm sorry, I
600.
just want to bring the conversation back to the fact of the Colony Pool Club is a township facility. Why we are bending over backwards for people who don't live in the township, who are not paying taxes to who fund the facility itself, is beyond me.
Now-
But if that's the direction that Tracy and others want to go, then I guess, we'll see what happens.
Okay. And that's fine. We don't have an agreement on that either. Next is individual, non-resident individual. And 350, 300, 255, 225. I just read you 4 years going back. So 350 is the most recent. Do you have a number in mind, Tracy? Where should that be?
2017 of 300.
2017 is 300. Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay. And
Yes,
300?
300 is in line with, I think, the other numbers that I was saying.
okay, 300, 300. I want $25 discount, 325. Anything you got? You have anything in your mind?
I can say 325. I'm
Right.
inclined to leave it at 350 because
Right.
it's a good discount from the
But you're
couple's
good for
rate.
325.
325.
Are you okay
Or-
with 325, Kurt?
He probably had to join his meeting. Are you there, Kurt?
Okay, so
I'm sorry, I was talking with the mute phone. No, I disagreed. I think we should leave it at 350. You can look at the numbers. If we are elected by township residents, we should support township residents and how
All
the
right.
tax dollars are being spent.
I see. I see your reasoning. Your reasoning is same for every line item. It's becoming repetitious. at
Yeah,
this
and
point.
unfortunately, I've got to keep reiterating it, Typhoon, because
No, we got your point, Kurt.
resonating with anyone else in the committee there.
You made it loud and clear why you want to make it higher for non-residents. It's very clear, to me at least, very clear.
Well, only to Karen apparently, because everyone else is supporting reducing fees for non-residents when township taxpayers are paying for this facility.
All right. If you go with 325, we have an agreement here, and but you don't want to.
No, I agree. I don't want to go with it. I think individuals, non-residents who pay zero taxes in Chatham Township should be able to pay $350 for the use of this facility.
All right. Okay, I see what
What's the
I
math
see.
on
What
that? Do the math. What does that come down to on
I
a
want-
daily basis for the use of facility?
I got it.
Reasonable here.
Kurt, thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, let's do individuals. I want individuals just to drive the membership, $300. So we have kind of agreement, three of us. So
Who's
$300.
the agreement with? I want on record.
I'm taking, I want, okay, Kurt, I'm asking everyone's opinion here. If the numbers are close to majority, that is the proposed number for the next meeting so we can discuss. So,
That's the point. Unfortunately, I apologize. I'm on the phone. I can't see what people are doing. Body
Because-
language, if they're raising their hands or not on their
no,
hands.
no raising hands. Kurt, because you're talking over people without knowing who's talking, because you don't see people here, that's, I think, part of the issue. And when I asked Tracy, but you're still doing it, let me finish it. And Tracy said 300, Mike said 300, and I said finally 300. So you wanted to go on the record, who are they? I'm telling you, who are they? So 3 of us. And so senior, 125 for non-resident senior. I would like to bring it down to $100 and bring it down $25. All right, so Tracy, do you have a number in mind?
$100 would be in line with 2017, and I think it's in line with encouraging. Our senior center doesn't differentiate between the Chathams. It's the senior center of the Chathams.
Okay.
So that if people have friends, they can all enjoy the pool together and not feel like they're paying different rates.
Okay. Karen, do you have a number in mind?
I concur.
Concur. Okay, you concur as well?
As well, yep.
So Kurt, four of us agreed to $100. You okay with that?
No, actually, I'm not. I actually was thinking about matching the fees for resident and non-resident seniors at the $70 rate, or whatever we had for township residents. This is the one exception I have. I think seniors are not like other individuals in the township where they don't have the dual income. They are on a limited budget. They don't have the ability, perhaps, to spend as freely as couples or individuals. Therefore, I think we should extend the benefit to the seniors.
All right. I honestly agree with you. Match it. It's $50 for the residents, and let's make it $50 for our seniors from everywhere.
I think it was 70
No, it was 75, but we agreed to $50.
for a senior individual member,
Senior, individual member, resident, we agreed $50.
$50.
Yes.
$70.
Then I go to $50 because you mentioned, I mean, it's the seniors. I wanted to bring it down to make sure we have more seniors, and we help them. You know, they gave us.
Wait, no, I think you're misquoting this, just to, I don't mean to jump in, but I think I'm getting confused. Senior individual resident is how much? Is that what
Senior
you're proposing?
individual resident.
The
is-
consensus reached earlier was $50 for senior resident.
Fine, then I'm fine with $50. I wanted to be parity for the senior resident, non-resident.
Okay, so $50 sounds like a winner. Senior couple is $200 right now for non-resident. For resident senior couple, we made it $100. And I propose to match it with senior resident and non-resident to $100 to drive membership and help the seniors who may not be able to pay, like non-seniors.
I would agree.
Mike,
I'll
what do you
go
think?
with that.
You okay with that?
Yep, that's
okay.
fine.
So Kurt, we agreed to $100 for the senior couple, non-resident.
Exactly as I said. Thanks for supporting my proposal.
Perfect. Happy to do that. Babysitter, I'm not sure because we didn't change the resident, and I suggest we don't change the non-resident for babysitter. So, Tracy, do you have a number in mind?
The babysitter is 100.
We
And the
100 for the resident.
non-resident babysitter is,
150 right now.
I think it just should be 100.
You want 100? I said 150. Mike, what do you think?
150.
I am the same, 150. These people are paying to bring their sitter there for the entire summer
Okay.
to help with their kids.
So we kind of
Makes no
have
sense for them to do.
the majority here. We're keeping it same. Kurt, you okay with that? 150?
Entirely. I'm supporting township residents in terms of this decision.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you, everybody. It was a painful exercise.
Daily guest.
Daily guest is, I mean, really, it's
Daily
a
guest
small
is
number.
$10.
It's $10.
$10.
$10, I would think. Just keep it to $10. So I appreciate it. We don't have an agreement for a couple numbers. And do you guys want to try it again or?
No.
No, okay. We're just going to leave it alone. And thank you. And I have the notes. I know Bob has it. You have it. We can double check, compare the notes.
If you don't agree on a number,
It will
then
stay the same.
it's last year's number.
Yeah.
Oh, so if we go to March 28th and we don't agree on a number, what's going to be in the ordinance for March 28th
Yeah,
is
it
that
will stay.
number? Well, then we have to agree on a number. What haven't we agreed on?
It's
Is that the number that's in the ordinance, but then isn't it subject to additional discussion?
we're making a suggestion to.
This is a direction to the administrator and the clerk to put an ordinance together for the
Right.
next meeting. That is not to say you can't discuss individual line items.
Right.
But you should have a working ordinance in front of you.
I think we're pretty close,
We're
considering
amending,
we've
yeah.
talked about this for like 90 minutes.
So let's just finish it off, because what we really need to do, if we're going to be concerned about members joining Colony Pool, is that we need to get Colony Pool membership up and running.
Well, sure, but that's going to happen one way or another
But
after
let me tell you
we see
something.
the
Let me tell you
ordinance
something.
at the next hearing.
I want to finish it too, but under the current circumstances, it sounds like it won't finish tonight. And,
Well, how many do we have left to finish?
and we have
only have two.
first,
Let's just
we
do
have
it.
first two on the non-resident. We couldn't do family non-resident and couple non-resident.
Okay, well, let's just try it again. Where are we?
That's-
If I may, on the couple, we had one for 600, we had two committee members that had 450, and it was a tie, 2 and 2. 2 for 600 and 2 for 450.
Yep,
All right, Typhoon, break the tie.
I'll break the tie. In the middle. 450 and 600, right? 525.
That doesn't break the tie.
What do you mean? Oh, yeah, right. That's right. No. What I'm saying
Well, no,
is
if you make a
525.
compromise.
525. I'm proposing 525 to
For
everyone.
non-resident couples.
Yeah.
I can live with that.
See, now we're almost there.
$600 for non-resident couples.
Okay.
These are not
525.
taxpayers. They're not taxpayers.
We either agree or we disagree. I think Karen and I disagree with the 525.
You do not agree. Yes, you disagree. Karen disagree. Mike agreed with me. If you agree on 525, Tracy, we have a deal. If you don't, it's going to be the same number on the ordinance, and we will discuss it at the next meeting. It doesn't mean the final, but we can discuss it at the next meeting.
That's giving a big discount.
525.
I think it's a big
Lives
discount. I
here.
think it's a big discount. really.
525.
To somebody who doesn't even live here.
I'm good.
You know what? We want more of them so we can drive the revenue. I think that's the whole thing. And the couple is five. Wait a second. This was couple.
That was couple.
This was couple. And 715 the family. We couldn't finish it, and it was 675 last year. 715. I'm sorry. 715 last year. 675 prior year, and Karen and Kurt suggested 725. Tracy suggested 600. I think you suggested 600.
The committeeman Kelly had suggested 625.
625. All right. I think I'm going to suggest 650.
I can live with 650.
I can too.
Okay. So it's kind of in the middle and compromise. I'm hoping that's compromise. Karen?
700.
Okay. All right, 650. Kurt, 650 is kind of compromise here. What do you think?
Well, I would, I agree with Karen.
Okay.
I support
Okay.
taxpayers in Chatham Township versus supporting
Okay.
non-taxpaying folks. But if
Unfortunately,
you want to support others
I want
who
everyone to agree. But
don't pay taxes
Not
to
happening.
support and fund the club, that's your prerogative.
Okay. Thank you, Kurt. And okay, so we have every number now, right?
Did we agree on non-resident individuals? Do we get a number for that?
I think we said 50. No, we didn't say 50.
We had, my notes indicate 300.
Yeah.
I'm
we
good
agreed
with
on
three-
that.
I'm good with 300. Yep.
300.
Okay.
Yep. So now you have a full document. Greg. Thank you.
Mr. Hoffman and I will work on preparing that ordinance for introduction at the next meeting.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. All right. I appreciate it. It was painful, but we got it done. And now it's time for hearing of the citizens. Time permitting. If anyone would like to come forward, please keep your comments to 3 minutes, if you can, please. Please
Hi, Dorothy Lee, 10 Pembroke Road. I've been working on the colony pool. I'm on the committee for the past couple of months. I've been getting to know it a little bit better, getting a lot of emails, a lot of responses from people. I think one of the complaints that people were saying is that it's not just the fee of increase. It's not about like the $50, $75 of increase. I'm really happy that you're reducing the fee, but it's just that they're saying, so you're increasing the fee, but what are you improving? What are we getting out of? We want the pool to be successful, and besides, we don't really have a municipal pool besides, the private club. It's the memorial pool and then, the colony pool. And looking at the number, looks like 25% or 30% of our membership came from the non-residents, which is the borough residents, which is all where our kids go to school with. So I totally understand that, like, yes, the township residents support colony pool maintenance and the fee and everything, but we are not talking about people from Summit and New Providence joining us. We're talking about the people from the borough. We are on the same swim team. We organize the same pasta party and everything. So just wanted to say that.
Thank you, Dorothy, appreciate it.
Do we actually know that? Do we have an idea of where the families are coming from?
I don't have that analysis. I don't know if,
Sorry, I think it said out of 10 on the sheet. I think it's like a very minimum number. It's like 9 or 10 people.
I know, the only thing that I know from the numbers is that non-resident families declined from 324 to 215 over a 2-year period.
Okay, well, so we don't have that number.
But we don't know where they're really coming from.
But you
is what I'm
broke it down
asking.
to where they come
I
from?
think on the column, one of them is said.
And we didn't do any kind of analysis, I suspect, in terms of why they declined either.
We don't know why,
We can
and
make
we
it-
don't know,
we can make
we don't
it
know
up
which
here.
towns they're from.
Okay, so honestly, this is the public comments, not back and forth discussion. And so we will,
Tucker, I think we can discuss amongst ourselves.
yeah, amongst ourselves, yes. But we still have Dorothy here and, responding to our comments. That's why, again, it's another disadvantage of not seeing here. And so are you finished?
I'm good.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your comments. Appreciate it. And now, if there's no one else coming forward, we're almost to the end. We're going to go into the executive session. And
I have one
sure.
more point of
Sure.
discussion. If I might, Albert, I don't know about whether you're able to offer any insight. We have been talking a lot about, and we had a homeowner here earlier also talking about the impact of building on our township and the impact of various site waivers and various variances being offered, and as a result, the building codes that we have relied on for a long time get maneuvered a little bit, for lack of a better turn of a phrase. One of the things that we see at the planning board level is the non-conforming subdivisions. When we're looking at a lot that's shy of 2 full conforming lots, regardless of the zone, they come to the planning board and apply for these approvals. And I'm wondering whether, as a body, we are actually able to put a moratorium on applications of that sort. Are we allowed to do that and say, for the time being, while we're doing this reassessment that's already been approved, for the time being, can we actually put a moratorium on applications of some of these lots that are less than full size when they get subdivided into smaller non-conforming lots with the impression of putting 2 homes there, and just say, please, we're not accepting applications of this sort?
No,
We can't do that.
no.
People have the right to apply.
You are a legislative body. If you want to change the legislation, that's your prerogative. In the meantime, applicants can go and apply to either the Board of Adjustment or the Planning Board, in this case primarily the Planning Board, and when they file a completed application, whatever ordinance is in place is the ordinance that governs. So if I were to file an application today under this ordinance, and tomorrow you changed it, and my application was a complete application, I would be governed under the old law. It used to be a time of decision rule, meaning that when the decision was made by the planning board or the zoning board, that whatever was in effect when that decision was made, or a court made a decision, that's what governed. The municipal law, the municipal land use law was changed a few years ago to change it to a time of application rule. So as a legislative body, you have to, if you're interested in pursuing a change in the zoning ordinance, you need to study it and move forward quickly. Also remember, you are a legislative body. The planning board and the board of
Right.
adjustment are quasi-judicial bodies. And they're governed by both the ordinance, but also by the municipal land use law. And if an applicant comes before either board and makes their case,
They must be
presents
heard.
the appropriate proofs, then the board has to rule consistently with law. So you can't direct the planning board to rule in a particular way, because if that were the case, you would be depriving them of their function.
So the ruling is that I'm asking about is whether they can put a moratorium on the hearings. And the answer is no. They have the right to apply.
The municipal land use law says you can make an application, and in fact, you're required to declare an application complete within a certain period.
Right.
And go through the application within a certain period, or else you can end up with what is referred to as a deemed approved application, unless the applicant gives you an extension. So those concepts, you're a legislative body, they're a judicial body, or quasi-judicial, so if you want them to follow different rules, you can't, in an ad hoc basis,
Right.
to give them a direction. Your role is to change the ordinance.
Right.
Amend it however you feel is
But the
appropriate.
application process is part of the ordinance.
No,
you're-
the application process is, yes, part of the ordinance, but it's governed also by the requirements of the municipal land use law.
Right.
So you can't call a moratorium and stop applications while you deliberate whether or not you're going to change an ordinance. That could take a month, a year, multiple years. And so what you're suggesting is that then I, as an applicant, would have to sit and wait until you made up your mind of how you wanted to address the ordinance. The law doesn't allow that.
Okay.
People are entitled to prosecute their applications, and if they present the appropriate proofs to the board makes that decision.
And the board takes its guidance from the rest of the board? Or, no, never mind.
No,
That's just grasping at straws.
The board acts as a unit.
Yes.
And then once they have a majority, that's the ruling.
Okay.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you, Albert.
Now, we're going into the executive session, and
I'll read the resolution. Resolution 2019-P-03, resolution of the Township Committee of the Township of Chatham and the County of Morris, State of New Jersey, authorizing conference of the Township Committee with the public excluded, whereas NJSA 10:4-12 of the Open Public Meetings Act permits the exclusion of the public from a meeting in certain circumstances, and whereas the Township Committee of the Township of Chatham is of the opinion that such circumstances presently exist, now therefore be it resolved by the Township Committee of the Township of Chatham, County of Morris, State of New Jersey as follows. Public shall be excluded from discussion of the specified subject matter. The general nature of the subject matter to be discussed is as follows. Property acquisition, personnel, police department, personnel, Township Committee. It is anticipated that the minutes on the subject matter of the executive session will be made public upon conclusion of the matter under discussion, and in any event when appropriate, pursuant to NJSA 10:4-7 and 4-13, the committee will come back into regular session and may take further action. This resolution shall take effect immediately.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I'll be back in 2 minutes, guys.